Hi, everybody, and welcome to Nourishing Your Multidimensional Body with Kathy Homeyer. Welcome in today. I don't know about you, but it's a gorgeous day here in the Adirondacks. The picture next to me is actually where I am broadcasting from. If you know me, I own, my family and I own our own resort. I moved here over 30 years ago, gave up a super great job because I felt compelled to come back to a property, come to find out that my great aunt and uncle built and use it for and keep it for people to rejuvenate, to do real foods, and it's a true getaway up in the Adirondack Mountains. And we've just had an absolutely incredible July with wonderful weddings, even though weddings aren't really our strong suit. We like to do real wellness retreats. That is in a way. And we've just had an incredible run in July. So we've been working on this property for quite some time, energetically and actually building it and keeping it and clearing it. And it's paid off because July has been absolutely incredible. And I am so thankful to the universe for divine timing, and the weather has been incredible for all of our events. Our staff has been incredible, and I just want to say a great thank you out there. But today I'm talking about the ancient biocodes, and are they keeping you awake at night? Now, again, the picture next to me is the view from our beach, and years ago we had this beam come down, and right basically where the beam is where an energetic portal is on the lake. So I just wanted to show you that because it was absolutely incredible. That's my husband in the picture. We're watching that thing for a good half hour, and it was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know anybody else on the lake that saw it, so that's even more incredible. But anyway, I'll take that down. Behind me is a chart of what I call the ancient biocodes. And if everybody's here, I'd love to say hello and tell me where you're from. We'll try and see if we get to a few activations or readings when I'm done with the biocode explanation. Is there anybody out there who has heard me talk about the ancient biocodes? Hey, Judy, nice seeing you. The ancient biocodes are those who haven't. I've had a show here on the Akashic Academy with somebody who practices with the ancient biocodes all the time. And I incorporate them into the work that I do and take a look at things that in the work that I do. And I have my glasses on today, so sorry for the little glare in the glasses, but I couldn't find my contacts. So I'll try and keep them from glaring a little bit. But behind me is this huge chart of what I call the ancient biocodes. And Ireland, well, welcome. I'm in the Adirondack Mountains of New York State, northern New York, just a couple of hours south of the Canadian border. So everybody thinks New York is New York City, or upper, what do they call it? Upstate New York is really middle New York. We're actually near Vermont in Canada for the most part. Up in the Adirondack Mountains, it's called the Healing Woods. And the ancient biocodes are actual scientific programs that run in your body blueprint. They're there to keep us safe, and now that we have evolved, they take over a little bit. And to make a long story short, and I'll explain in a minute, why I'm leading it into keeping us awake at night is because if we don't resolve the biocodes, the reason they're running, the crisis they're running for, then our body goes, okay, you've got to get this done, and you're not doing it during the day, so you've got to wake up. Now, there's tons of things that keep us awake at night, right? But even worry can be part of a biocode that is running. Hey, Christy, how are you? Hi, Jennifer. Hey, Peter. Nice to see you guys. Thanks for commenting. So I'll explain the biocodes just briefly. And again, I just kind of went through how they can keep you awake at night, because if you're worried or running a program, and again, this chart behind me, if you're just joining us, is a huge chart of the ancient, what I call the ancient biocodes. They're codes that were put in our blueprint to keep us away from the saber-toothed tiger, to keep us safe from danger that we did not expect. Now, it's not a stress, like a work stress, especially in this day and age, that we put on ourselves every day and kind of expect to happen. this is a stress. The ancient biocodes start to run and what I call get pinged when we come across a stress or an incident that we do not expect. In our day and age, it'd be something like, somebody or, an animal getting hit by a car, falling and not expecting to, something that just happens, and accidents that we just don't expect, and we're witnessing, we're seeing, and it pings something in our brain and organ at the same time. And that's what that chart is back there. I have another huge kind of other chart that tells about the organs and what organ gets pinged when a certain area in your brain does. And these are so documented and charted by a scientific doctor, an MD, who tried to bring this into the medical profession, and I wouldn't say failed, but he got kicked out of the medical profession because what he found was, he found about 20, he's documented about, this number isn't correct, but about 25 biocodes that run in our body in result to something that we don't expect. And then there's what's called constellations, which are combinations of these biocodes. And again, I'm relating it to sleep because if you don't resolve these biocodes during the day, then your body's going to wake you up at night. Because what happens when the codes ping, something happens. We have a lot of deer on the road. So say I see a deer hit by a car and a friend is standing next to me. I may see it one way and be really flabbergasted and oh my gosh. And the other person might go, oh yeah, he's fine, no big deal. But that maybe wouldn't ping that person, but for me, it would ping an area in my brain and an area in an organ, depending on how I saw that action happen. And then it would start either doing a couple things to the areas. It would have cell growth or cell loss. We'll just keep it at that. There's another one. But cell growth or cell loss in that particular organ that got affected. So if I didn't resolve that, then I would start to get cell growth or a tumor. If that's the program that started running, because they all vary, and I'm not going to go into them now. In the comments, I can put the link to the show here on the Akashic Academy where I talked all about the ancient biocodes. And so it would ping either an organ and either start to grow cells or lose cells depending on what was happening. And thank you, Christy, for sharing. So if I was growing cells, I would start to get some kind of growth in my body somewhere, again, depending on the biocode, and they all have very specific parameters. And if I was losing cells, like even as simple as bone loss or tooth decay, something like that, they relate to these. And but these are all very different codes that you probably heard about. And again, I'll put the link in the comments to the show that explains a little bit more about them. So again, if you don't resolve this crisis, you're going to keep growing cells, or you're going to keep losing cells, depending on how it affected you, how the crisis affected you. Could be something like a skin rash or anything like that. That's more on the kind of healing side of it, as a healing reaction. But to me, these are just fascinating codes to learn, to see how different symptoms that just wouldn't go away by any other means. You look at the biocode, you relate the area in the brain to the area in an organ and how it plays out. Really, really interesting. But again, so say we have these codes running, and right now it doesn't really matter how they affect, but we know somehow there's a code running. And I'm going through my day and I'm busy, and I can't think about, okay, that was really okay. The deer's fine. It's totally fine. I can resolve that program. I don't have to be frightened, worried, and I'm just really kind of simplifying this, but I don't really have to, that doesn't have to affect me. Okay, very simply, you're going to see something, don't expect it. It doesn't have to affect you. If it does, it's going to affect an organ. And if I say, oh my gosh, I was so worried about that deer. I wonder if he ran in the woods and died. I wonder if I should go see it. If that kept affecting me, then the program would keep running. And in the middle of the night, my body would automatically go, hey, this program is here to help you not to keep the cells growing or not to keep losing cells. You've got to resolve this before it kind of gets into a larger situation and keeps rolling around. And a lot of times when you see symptoms, allergies are a biocode. Food allergies are a biocode. I'm going to say they're not response to the food itself, but to the action that happened when you had that food. Skin rashes are a biocode. I could say a lot of other things that biocodes are. So you don't want them to keep running. You want them to resolve. And our body knows this. It doesn't want to go beyond the simple kind of explanation and running that they were supposed to do. So we wake up at night and our body is trying to tell us to resolve that crisis, to get it through our mind, to go, okay, that was fine, we're all good, and we don't need to run that code anymore. Or if things really aren't good, if say the deer died or whatever, I would just have to resolve that into myself that that's life, that it happened, I can't do anything about it, and resolve. If I kept literally letting it eat away at me or grow cells, then it would keep looping and I'm not resolving. So I would have to wake up and get that going. Now, there's tons of different things, of course, that can keep us awake at night. We know about the Chinese organ times, that if there's too much in our liver, maybe we'll awake at a certain time. Ascension energies kind of keep us awake at night, and all the extra energies around us. But I just want to let you know that there are certain things like the ancient biocodes that keep us awake at night. If you find something looping, if you see a symptom that constantly comes up, it might be yearly, it might be monthly, it might be weekly, it might be even daily. That means you are looping in a biocode cycle. That is called a hanging healing, and everything you've tried might not have taken that away. And sometimes certainly energy work can identify these and can help release these loopings that we can take away from our psyche and tell our organs and glands and everything that, hey, you're good to go, you can heal now, stop growing cells or stop losing cells, and stop waking me up at night. Now, I don't know if these kind of have a certain timing like the Chinese meridians do, in terms of waking you up at a certain time. But they are another issue, and I know everybody has trouble with sleep right now. I don't know too many people that don't. I haven't for a long time, and now all of a sudden I'm waking up. So maybe there's something running that I don't know about. So if anybody wants to say hello and I'm going to say place an issue or a symptom that they've seen coming up all the time, and maybe you don't have great rest, or do you see a pattern in a certain, like when you see a symptom, do you wake up all the time? This is the type of thing when you look at ancient biocodes and start working with your ancient biocodes, you look at symptoms that come, because the symptom is actually your healing reaction to the looping biocode. If you see it once, then you know you've kind of gone through it. Something happened and you've gone through it. So a lot of this is, you can identify with muscle testing, or you can identify by the reaction themselves. My brother came over and I don't get along with my brother, so that always leads me to a reaction. A neighbor comes over, I go to work, and this happens all the time with my boss, and oh my gosh, I have a skin rash. To give an example, skin rashes are a separation conflict. Kidneys are the kind of called a fish out of water conflict, more of a kind of fear conflict in a way, but that can also allow you to hold 5 to 10 pounds of water. So it's not weight gain that you're gaining, it's water that you're holding, because a bio program and a biocode is running, maintaining water, trying to keep you, I don't want to say nourished, or trying to keep you safe, because of a really ancient program that is running. So that's kind of another example of a biocode. Is there anybody who's noticed a pattern or has any kind of issue that they feel keeps them awake at night? Again, not a stressor, but something from an accident, a crisis, something that just happened all of a sudden and you couldn't really identify. If there is, let me know and we can. Hi there, Colin, welcome. Yeah, this is Kathy from Nourishing Your Multidimensional Body, talking about the ancient biocodes today. The chart behind me is all the identified codes that happen. And if anybody has any questions, I'm running through the biocodes really, really quickly, but I just want you to know that they can affect your sleep. There are certain issues that happen that you need to wake up at night and kind of get through it. And Christy's saying you can check to see how this coincides with the pain body that Eckhart Tolle discusses. Definitely programming conditioning, which hangs on with the ego. Yeah, it's interesting to see these biocodes in turn. Hi, Cindy. In terms, I'll put that up there, Christy. In terms of what they call ego, this is really the safety. This is a physical. This isn't actually a mental process. It is a physical process that they people who really talk about biocodes that you can't help. It's a response that you go into a lot of times into fear. So fear is one of those things that really holds your body back. We know that in energy medicine, that fear really holds your body back, and sometimes it really pings these biocodes and keeps you in fear and keeps you looping into certain reactions for your body. You can have growth in the muscle or loss of tissue in the muscle, and certainly any other areas in the body. So it's really interesting. Hi, Eleanor from San Diego. Hope you're doing well out there. So in terms of also, I found some great things too in terms of running energy, which also helps with the biocodes. Now, I found a diagram that I've had in the past. I want to put it up for you. And we can do a little grounding and running energy here, because this always helps with any type of process, anything that's keeping us from sleeping at night, from not having energetic balance. And I love this diagram because it shows how to run energy, and I always like to do that when I get up in the morning. So if anybody wants to run energy with me, now I'm seated like they are. You can also do this certainly standing up. I'm seated because it kind of helps visualize the looping energy, but I love this one. Just get out of bed, hang my feet over the bed in the morning, and just start connecting to Mother Earth. I'm also going to give you a grounding number too. So if you have a piece of paper and you want to write this down, if you want to replay, I'm going to give you a grounding number as well, a frequency code for grounding, because this helps in the middle of the night to run energy. If you're not sleeping, if you think you have a biocode running, or any other of the energies that certainly that keep us awake at night, this running energy can help run your energy, get your body balance back up. Try and, sometimes it's like you wake up with a start and it's like, okay, heart, calm down. What are we working at? What is the issue that we're trying to resolve? What happened yesterday? What happened last week that I did not expect? Again, if you're looking at biocodes, it's something that you didn't expect, not a stressor that has been kind of moving in all along. It's a reaction to an event that was totally unexpected that you could not plan to react to. And that's what the biocodes are. They're very different. So running energy, I always like to pretend that I'm unfurling my tail down into Mother Earth, and I'm curling it all the way down into the center and giving Mother Earth a big hug with my monkey tail right in the iron core crystal. And then drawing energy back up through my feet and my calves and my knees, up through my thighs, and then down the grounding cord again, because that can release a lot of energy. So you have that lower loop of Mother Earth energy going, and you can visualize that. Just know that it's running. Just know that Mother Earth can take a lot, and you're also her conduit to release energy as well. So the Mother Earth energy running down through your lower extremities. Again, this is a picture of someone sitting, of course, but you can do it standing. And then the cosmic energy going from that same area of your pelvis area up through your spine, all the way up. And I like to say through the goo, through the fourth dimension, through the fifth dimension, all the goo up there and up to the void of just everything and source. And then pulling it back down through your spine. And then running it again up the channel, so up both sides of the channels, and then bringing it down over like a fountain. And then you can also bring it down through your arms and hands. You can run energy through your hands. We do that with light wave. So you've got two channels going, and they connect right in the pelvis as well, and that is a great way to run energy. And I'll answer your question in a second. So I just love that diagram. Keep that around. If you want to print that out, I can tell you where to get that. I can put the PDF in the comments. I just love that because it reminds me to run the energy from Mother Earth, run the energy from the cosmos, combine that in our body, and really be energized and balanced. And I'm going to give you a grounding number. Put this one up. So there's, if you know, I do frequency numbers. There's a grounding number that you can put on a glass of water. You can tape it right on your glass of water if you want to, print it out. You can say it 7 times for grounding if you feel you're really ungrounded. And then I also like to balance to the axis, the 3 axis of the earth as well. So just intend to be grounded to Mother Earth and also be aligned with Mother Earth's 3 axis. That's kind of an important one as well. We won't go into that now. I have before. But I just want to mention that one as well because I believe there's a little bit more to grounding than grounding. Okay, I'll leave that up for a minute. So if someone has a rash on anywhere in their body, that's caused by separation. Yeah, if it's a biocode, there's a way to look at it to see if it is a biocode running, and I could just kind of, if you want to test to see if that is a biocode or a hanging healing. Yeah, rashes are a separation conflict. And it's really interesting because in the biocodes, it depends on whether you're right-handed or left-handed. And again, we don't have time to go into this on this one. But if you're right-handed or left-handed, it can give a clue to whether it's kind of husband, partner related or child, like job related. And so if you know your handedness, you can find out, it gives you a clue to who the situation might have been with. And unfortunately, with our family, we ping our biocodes all the time. They're our learning structure as well as our challenge sometimes. But a separation conflict is pretty much within the biocodes known as rashes in different parts of the body. And if it keeps coming back, then you can identify, I can help you identify the situation, how that separation feeling. It may not be total physical separation either. It may be, you know, any way that you're perceiving a separation from someone that is bothering you somehow by a situation that happened all at once. That you didn't expect. You'll see a rash as the healing reaction. So if you see it a lot, or if you can actually keep a calendar and say, oh, it happens on, and I'm just going to make this up, you know, Monday afternoon, when then something probably happened over the weekend. If it happens during the week and you're working, then maybe it's something that's happening at work. And again, it doesn't have to be a physical separation for someone, but something you perceive as separation. So it's really, really interesting. They're fascinating. Like I said, the chart behind me, and I'll bring this grounding down. This chart behind me documents all of them, the area in the brain that corresponds to the organ that causes an increase in cell or a decrease in cell, you know, with cell loss. So fascinating stuff. And I can direct you to more information on the biocodes. I can help you, you know, take a look at biocodes within yourself if you want to. Again, I'll put in the comments the show that I did with Andy Lockmears that explains biocodes just a different way. But I also want this show, with the limited time that we have in 30 minutes, the biocodes may be something keeping you up at night. If that's not resolved, it's saying, hey, you're not doing this during the day. We're going to do this at night. I'm going to wake you up because I don't want to create more cells and I don't want you to lose more cells. We need to resolve this. And sometimes we're not aware of these biocodes. A lot of people don't know that they exist. They are physical reactions of the body to a situation that we could not predict. They were put there to put us safe, and sometimes they just react with us and we don't know why they're happening. And we work with energy, we work with, you know, creams for a rash, we do something, and it always comes back. And it's usually, if that's the case, it's usually a biocode that can be literally identified. You can figure out just by very simple things, actually. on what it might be, and you'll go, well, I don't know, that just doesn't make sense. And then all of a sudden you'll go, oh, I remember that situation. And I felt that way then, and we can relate it to a biocode. Again, I don't have too much time to really explain that, but yeah. Stephanie, my kids want to go to their dads. It started when I separated from their dad. Hadn't thought of that for a minute. Yeah, see, it just kind of comes. Once you start kind of getting into this with, and I do sessions with folks to help identify the biocodes, both with energetics and just with going through the process of identifying the biocodes, telling you what different biocodes are. Because, yeah, I just disappeared there. I don't know why. But I can, when we have the symptoms, you can identify the biocode by different clues of what they found out from the biocodes. You can help identify the situation, identify the organ, and even identify the area in the brain. So that's why when some crisis happens, now I work with the Paralandra essences a lot, and they have an emergency essence. That's really important to take when you have a crisis, because it's going to lessen the ping in your brain and the ping in your organ. The longer you have that looping, the more cells you're going to gain in a certain area, like a tumor, or the more you're going to lose, like an osteoporosis or something. That's a devaluation program. And they're totally fascinating, I think, anyway. And I'd be happy to work with anybody, with them, discuss it over a private message to see if that's something that they want to explore for a reaction that they have that they just can't get rid of or see and identify. And once you start thinking about them, like Stephanie said, you'll go, oh, I know that situation. So you start working with a situation, however you like, either energetically or in different ways. And I like to actually, if it's become very physical, it may need a physical remedy as well. But we can work through that and tone that down and go, okay, when another situation happens, that doesn't have to happen to me. Hey, Krista, how you doing? Hey, Elizabeth. Hi, Sarah. My stomach and anxiety, now my head hurt, next problem. Yeah, interesting enough, once I've learned about these biocodes, I have felt the ping in my head and went, oh my gosh, because they're identified on in the medulla, in the brainstem, in the different areas of your brain. And I have literally been shocked by something and went, oh my gosh. And then I literally felt the ping in my brain and went, okay, this is not going to affect me now. I understand what the reaction was. It's all okay. I'm not going to let the scare get to me. And you can really resolve them fairly quickly when you know what to look for. Some of them you've had for years, and they're going to take and the longer you've had them, probably the more intense the healing reaction will happen once you resolve them. But they're really cool to identify and to work through. And the real consciousness of them is to keep them from creating themselves in the first place once you're aware of the biocodes. Yeah, I don't sleep at all. Like I said, tons and tons of things, right? And Dr. Cruz is a surgeon who also tells, look him up, Dr. Cruz, Kruse, about how we're messing with our sleep with, of course, these wonderful computers that we're using, the red light in our cells. That's not necessarily a biocode. I have to check into that in terms of, I'm sure there's something, but that's a constant stressor, so it's not a biocode. But there are different things. The sun alone can help our sleep with melatonin, and he basically shows how the melatonin cycle is totally messed up. And yeah, addictions can be biocodes. I'm glad you mentioned that, Elizabeth, because how you eat when a biocode is running, it goes through a predictable cycle. It's all predictable. And when you are, and you'll know this just from having a cold. Now, a cold actually they call it a stink conflict. I think it's kind of a weird name, but it's called a stink conflict. And if you look at the information from the biocodes, colds are not germs that you catch from somebody sneezing. When you see somebody sneeze, you go, oh my God, that stinks, I don't want to get sick. And there you go, you're getting sick because you're activating the stink conflict in yourself. And that's what happens is runny noses. So colds themselves are a really interesting way to look at the biocodes when you understand what stink conflict is. And you get sick from seeing someone else being sick because you think you're going to be sick. And it just, that's why it is so, so everybody gets colds at a certain time because they all think they're going to get the germs. And that's not really what happens according to the Ancient Biocodes. So anyway, really fascinating stuff. I'd certainly love to do more on this. And actually, maybe if there's enough interest, we can actually do one program and do some readings and activations for a particular program. For women in particular, the devaluation program is very, very big. Osteoporosis, mostly in women, it's a devaluation program. And as we get older, these programs just keep looping and give us more symptoms as we kind of heal and not heal, heal and not heal. So that's how it goes. You need several hours of your show. I know. I love this stuff, but we can do one program at a time, and I really love it. If it resonates with you, you kind of get the information. You understand how the situation happens, how we find an epicrisis. For example, let me take heart attacks. I just had a couple of folks die from heart attacks, and they weren't old either. And for me, that's a massive healing reaction that just went too far. It was something that they resolved, and that was the epicrisis, unfortunately. And they either weren't near help soon enough. And let me just give you a hint on the biocodes. If anybody thinks they're having a heart attack, if anybody thinks they're having anything drastic, put ice near the neck and head, because it's actually the edema in the brain that's releasing, not necessarily the heart attack action itself. And I'm certainly no medical doctor. Don't take this to this is not medical advice at all. But ice on the head can reduce the edema that happens with these reactions. So I think it's just fascinating. Yes, certainly not a medical doctor, not giving any medical advice here, but just awareness that you should really learn about the biocodes. And I can give you information on that as well. A lot of different codes that run. Our kidneys, again, fear program. All of us, not all of us, some of us are too skinny and can't gain it, but a lot of us have that extra 5 to 10 pounds that just won't go away. Generally, it is water weight from a fear-based program, which is all around us. And we just don't understand why that 5 or 10 pounds can't disappear, is because our kidneys is holding water in our body because of the certain program that we're running. So that's probably one that a lot of females can relate to, that 5 to 10 pounds that just won't come off. And guys too, actually. May I ask this, please? My friend has a rash allergy on her skin. She's celiac, I think you want to say, and is taking antihistamine. Anything you can recommend? Rashes, again, are a separation conflict. PM me, Kathy Homeyer, on Facebook, and we can look at it really quickly to see if it makes sense to you with how the separation conflict happens. Allergies really are a reaction to something that's happened in the past and keeps on happening. The celiac and food allergies as well. And what I was going to say about eating for the biocodes is the certain stage that you're in the biocode, like colds, that's where I was bringing up colds. You know that, what is it? Fever, starve, or cold. I never remember which way that goes. But when you're in a certain cycle, you want to not eat. And when you're in a certain cycle, you want to eat. When you're in the healing reaction, you want those nutrients coming in because you're building back your cells or decreasing cells. So it's really interesting to look at nutrition in terms of where you are in the cycle of your biocode. And I'm kind of running out of time, but and what did you say to do? Message me or message me in the comments. I'll be on. I'll answer questions in the comments after the show is over too. And I'll also put up, once again, I will put up the show that I did with Andy Lockmears, which explains the biocodes just a little bit more than I was able to do just in this show. It's another 30 minutes or so. I've had Andy at my place. We've done a retreat where we've gone through biocodes, we've explored biocodes, we've explored symptoms and reactions that people have, and identified the different codes to resolve it for ourselves as well. So, like, I have another example I'll give you is I have varicose veins, in one leg. And if, depending on whether I'm right or left, and I can't remember because I always have to look them up, there's so many of them. I think it's a ball and chain reaction to something, to being chained to something. And now I have varicose veins. So I'm actually going through a healing reaction. I don't feel ball and chained anymore. And so now they're healing because it's a reaction to a ball and chain. I don't know if I'm explaining this right. But now I have the varicose veins in it. For a lot of times they were popping out, but as I'm going through this, going, okay, I don't feel ball and chained anymore, this is healing, they're actually dissipating. So I'm healing my varicose veins. And it's been amazing because I keep, with all I've been on my feet lately, we've had 4 weekends of 100-person weddings, 80-person weddings, multiple days, multiple events. I'm on my feet, I'm cooking for all these people. And usually my leg would hurt and they would feel like they're popping out of my leg. And I've been really working with the biocodes with kind of the ball and chain reaction, and my leg is really great. So I'm really, really happy about that. I'm really, really excited. So I'll have to go now, but I will put in the comments, look for that other show. I will put it in there, the link to it in the show. And maybe next time we can go through what might be one of the more common biocodes. If any of you have symptoms, let me know in the comments. I'll take a look at those. And if a lot of them, like allergies and celiac and all that, I relate to biocodes, then we'll do one of those next time or the show after. So thanks for chiming in. I know this went really fast, but be aware that there's other things that can keep you awake at night, and it might be a biocode telling you to resolve it. So stay nourished, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.